everybody, it's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for a recommending books to other booktubers video. So this is a series of videos that I have been doing on my channel for a couple of years now. It is very sporadically put up, there's no particular time frame, but I will link the playlist with all of the videos that I have put up before in the description below so that you can go and watch that if you would like. As the name suggests, I have chosen some booktubers today that I'm going to recommend specific books to. All of those people are listed in the description below, and I highly recommend that you go and check out all of their channels. I always choose people whose channels I really love, so like I said, please go and subscribe to them, check out their content, and yeah, have some fun. So most of the people that I choose for these videos are people who I just choose, but sometimes people will comment and ask me to recommend them a book. So if you would like me to recommend a book to you, then please do comment down below and let me know. If you have a BookTube channel, then you just need to comment you have a BookTube channel and that you want me to recommend a book to you, because I can go and watch your content. But if you don't have a BookTube channel, and you don't have to despite the name of the video, with your comment asking for a recommendation, please leave a few different books that you really enjoy or your favorites, or give me your Goodreads so that I can go and find the sorts of things that you're interested in, the sorts of genres that you're interested in, so that I can give you a recommendation that I think you would enjoy. Like I said, some of the people who I talk about in these videos are people who I've just picked because I wanted to, and some of them are people who have requested that I give them a recommendation. In this video, I don't have anyone that requested any, so they are all people that I've just chosen because I wanted to do that. Most of the time on these videos, I talk about people who I know that I have somewhat of a vague relationship with. So we're aware of each other, we watch each other's content, we comment, all of that sort of thing. Potentially, you know, we chat outside of that, whatever. But I always do try to pick at least one booktuber who I don't think knows about me, because I like to try and put myself out there a little bit and broaden my own contact space and all of that sort of thing. So in this list, there is definitely one person who I don't think is aware of my channel at all. I certainly don't have any particular, I don't have any contact with them, I don't have any relationship with them, but yeah, we'll see how we go. So that's the general idea behind this video. So let's go through now and I will recommend books to some booktubers. So the first person that I want to recommend a book to is actually the person that I just mentioned, who is not someone who I think knows of my existence. And that person is Willow from WillowTalksBooks. I did actually recently do a video in another series, which is a series of books, a series of videos where I pick a particular booktuber and read some books that I was inspired to read because of them. And I did put that up recently, and it is about books I was inspired to read by Willow. So I don't know whether or not they've come across that. They certainly haven't said that in any comments anywhere, but potentially, hopefully this video would make them find that one. I don't know. But anyway, that video is down below if you haven't seen it and you were interested in watching it. So the first booktuber that I'm going to recommend a book to today is Willow from WillowTalksBooks. The book that I'm recommending to you today, Willow, is After Story by Larissa Barrett. Anyone that watched my vlog recently probably knows why, but for anyone that doesn't, and particularly for Willow, who I'm not sure whether you have seen this video I'm talking about or not, hopefully you see this one. Anyway, the reason I'm recommending this book to you is because while I was doing the vlog, I was reading The Remains of the Day by Kazuo Ishiguro, and I was concurrently reading After Story by Larissa Barrett. Now, After Story wasn't for the vlog, but I did talk about it in the vlog because the two actually are similar in the sense that they are both about people who are going on a tour around various parts of the UK and reflecting upon their lives. And I know that you absolutely love Kazuo Ishiguro as an author. I know that you love The Remains of the Day, which is why I picked it up. But I do think that on that basis, you would really enjoy After Story by Larissa Barrett. So Larissa Behrendt is an Indigenous Australian author. The book is about two Indigenous Australian characters, a mother and a daughter. The daughter is a lawyer who did English Lit as her undergrad degree, and she wants to go on this tour of the UK. It's a literary tour of the UK, and she decides to invite her mother because her mother and her don't have the best relationship, and she really wants to reconnect with her mother and forge a better relationship with her mother. Her mother is not particularly well educated. She left high school early because she was pregnant with a different child, so she hasn't got any higher education or anything like that. She has lived her whole life in the one town, and so her experiences are very different from her daughter's. Her daughter grew up in that town but then moved to Sydney, went to university, studied, like I said, English Lit but also law, and is a lawyer. So they have quite different lives, but at the same time, they have experiences that are similar, partly because of their experiences of being Indigenous Australians, but also they had something happen in their past that has affected both of them quite significantly, and there's a lot of trauma around that, and that is a lot to do with why their relationship is a bit strained. So it's about them exploring the UK, and it's about them reconnecting and kind of getting to know each other a little bit again, learning a bit more about themselves and reflecting on their past, both together and separately, if that makes sense. So I think you'd really enjoy it. It's incredibly well written. I really love Larissa Behrendt's writing style. This is the third book of hers, I think, that I have read, and I really want to read some more of her stuff because she's an amazing author. But yeah, it's really, like I said, it's really interesting, it's really well written, and I think you would enjoy it based on the fact that you love Kazuo Ishiguro's Remains of the Day, which I feel like is similar, but also just because I think that you would enjoy getting to know a little bit more about Indigenous Australia and Indigenous Australia experiences. I don't know how much you know about that, being not Australian. Unfortunately, many white people in Australia don't know a lot about the Indigenous experience, obviously myself included. So yeah, I just think that you'd find it interesting, and I think you'd enjoy learning something a bit different. So that is why I'm recommending to you, Willow, that you pick up After Story by Larissa Behrendt. The next person that I would like to recommend a book to is someone that I do know a little bit. That person is Neva from Reading with Neva. So the book that I'm recommending to you today, Neva, is Radiance by Grace Draven. The reason I'm recommending this book to you is because I'm not sure how much of a dark romance it is, but it's definitely a kind of monster romance, and I know that romance, dark romance, monster romances are the kinds of thing that you really, really enjoy. This one is reasonably smutty, I would say. I don't think that it's super smutty. I know that you do enjoy smutty books, but there's definitely some smut in there, and I think that the smut is well written. So this book follows two different characters, and they are from different races, and they are made to marry in an arranged marriage, and initially they're both very much not attracted to each other. The female main character is human, the male main character is not. I cannot remember what the race that he is, but they both find each other quite repulsive to look at, and they're not really at all interested in each other. But the story is about them developing a relationship and developing an attraction for each other. I really enjoyed it. I thought that it was really well written. It's the first in a series. I'm not sure how many books there are in the series. I decided I probably wasn't going to continue with the series just because it's just not my kind of thing, despite the fact that I did really, really enjoy the first book. I really enjoyed the romance and the relationship between them. I thought that it was a really healthy exploration of a romance and exploration of getting to know someone and finding attraction through getting to know them as a person. But yeah, I just think that you'd really enjoy it because, like I said, I know that you enjoy romance, I know you enjoy smutty kind of romances, and I know that you enjoy monster kind of romances, so I think it has all of those things. But I also think that you would enjoy, so yeah, I guess it's not dark romance because it's quite functional, and I think you'd enjoy that as something a little bit different. Yeah, I'm not sure really how much of that, I don't know. I know you like dark romance, so I don't know how much I don't know everything about your romance journey, but I think that you'd enjoy this one. I'm hoping that you would enjoy this one because it's a monster romance, but because it explores the nuances of getting to know each other and forming a romantic connection through actual communication and through actual respect of each other and all of those sorts of things. So the book that I'm recommending to you, Neva, is sorry, mental blank, Radiance by Grace Draven. Next up, I'd like to recommend a book to Nell from Nell Diamond. So Nell, the book that I'm going to be recommending to you is Like Real People Do by E.L. Massey. This is a sports, I want to say it's hockey, but it's sort of not 100% hockey romance. So it is a male-male romance between a figure skater and a hockey player. And I just thought that it was really, really fun. I thought it was really well written. I enjoyed, again, the exploration of their romance. It is I wouldn't say enemies to lovers at all, but it is a little bit of a unexpected romance, if that makes sense. And we're exploring someone trying to come out to the world, to friends and family, who is on a hockey player and is a very well-known hockey player. So there's a lot of exploration of not just coming out in general, but coming out when you are famous and how to do that, the extra level of, you know, trying to do something like that with the whole world watching. But yeah, like I said, I thought it was really well written. I really enjoyed the characters. I know that you do really enjoy contemporary romances. I know that you enjoy kind of quite, in a way, quite kind of light fluffy, but like I said, this isn't super light fluffy because it does have those elements of coming out and figuring yourself out and how to be true to yourself and all of those sorts of things. And I think those are the kinds of things that you really like in romance as well. Based on some of the romances that I've seen you read and rate quite highly, I do think that you would really, really enjoy this book. So the recommendation for you today, Nell, is Like Real People Do by E.L. Massey. Next up is Hannah from LadetteM. So yeah, I'm going to recommend a book to you, Hannah. The book that I'm going to be recommending to you today is Madam by Phoebe Wynne. The reason I'm recommending this book is, well, again, I'm hoping that you'll really enjoy it. I know that you do, I can't remember what the name of the book club is, but you have a book club where you read a lot of kind of gothic type novels, and Madam is definitely a gothic, dark academia type book that I think that you would really, really enjoy. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. And I just thought that it was incredibly well written. It's incredibly smart. It's just great. It was a lot of fun. It was really interesting, but it was also very foreboding. And I thought that the author was excellent at creating that feeling of eeriness and foreboding, and you don't know what, there's something not quite right at the school, there's something not quite right going on, but you don't know for about half of the book what that is, but you definitely feel that real sense of foreboding. And then when you find out what it is, it's not quite what you'd expect from a dark academia gothic style book, but it's done incredibly well. And even though you now know what is off, you still are finding things out about how that all works and what that looks like, and it's still got that sense of foreboding and eeriness, which I think is really fantastic, and I think you would really enjoy that based on, like I said, the fact that you read a lot of those sorts of gothic books for your book club, and also get the impression that you quite enjoy dark academia. So I'm really, really hoping that you would really enjoy this one. But yeah, the book that I'm recommending to you today, Hannah, is Madam by Phoebe Wynne. The next person that I'd like to recommend a book to is Emma from ObservingemMa. So Emma, the book that I'm going to be recommending to you today is Only When It's Us by Chloe Lees. I believe this has actually been picked up and been traditionally published now, but it was originally I think self-published work. It is the first book in a series of romances that center around this one family. So it is the Bergman Brothers series. I think that's what the series is called anyway. And yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed the relationship in this one, the way that it was built. I thought, again, like the Grace Draven book that I mentioned earlier when I was recommending for Neva, I think that the relationship is very functional. It's really, really well written in a way that makes you feel like they really think about each other, they're really considerate of each other, they really get to know each other, and they really form a loving connection. There is disability rep in here which is done very, very well, and yeah, I just really enjoyed it. Based on some of the books that I have heard you talk about, I know you love Abby Jimenez, I know that you've really enjoyed other romances, both kind of that more sort of wholesome, but also some of the more kind of darker themed romances, and I just think that you would really, really enjoy this one. I think it would be right up your alley. I really enjoyed the characters. I think you would really enjoy the characters as well, and like I said, I love their connection and the way that that's built. So the book that I'm recommending to you today, Emma, is Only When It's Us by Chloe Lees. Then I'm going to recommend a book to Roisin from RoisinsReading, and the book that I'm going to be recommending to you today is Home, also by Larissa Behrendt. So obviously Larissa Behrendt wrote After Story, which I recommended to Willow, but I'm going to recommend Home to you today, Roisin. The reason for that is because I know that you read a lot of literary fiction and you really enjoy a lot of literary fiction. You also enjoy historical fiction, and Home is both, I would say, literary and historical. So again, like I said before, Larissa Behrendt is an Indigenous Australian author, and in this book we are following a family, and we start with a Indigenous woman. I'm not sure the exact year that it was that we start. Excuse if you can hear the whippersnipper or whatever it is that's going on out there. Apologies for that. But yes, we start with this one woman, and it is about, she is a part of the stolen generation, so she is taken from her family and she's actually put into service within a white family, and she doesn't know where she is in relation to her family. She doesn't know how to get back to her family, and it is about her experiences in that situation. And then she ends up marrying a German man, and then it's about her family going forward, and it's about how the experiences of being taken from her family against her will and placed into service, how that affects not just her but her family going forward. The stolen generation is not something that is particularly well understood within white Australia. It's very much not talked about, and I think that that's an issue. I think we need to discuss it. I think we need to be more aware of it. It's affected people right up until people who still are alive today. It was still a practice that we did in the 1960s and 70s. So I think it's important that we read it. I know that you're not Australian, but I do think that you would get a lot out of it. I think that you would enjoy, well, I say enjoy, it's hard, very hard hitting, but I think it seems like you enjoy those sorts of books, and I think that you would get a lot out of this book. I think you would enjoy the experience of learning about something that maybe, again, I don't know how much you know about Indigenous Australia, but maybe something you don't really know that much about. So yeah, that's the reason why I am recommending to you Roisin, Home by Larissa Behrendt. And then the final booktuber that I want to recommend a book to today is Margaret from The Word Nerd. And Margaret, the book that I'm going to recommend to you today is Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. Now, I'm not sure if you've read any Alex E. Harrow before, but I know that you enjoy the kind of book that this is. I personally love Alex E. Harrow's writing style. I think she is an amazing, amazing author. I've loved pretty much everything I've read from her, including Starling House. This is a gothic fantasy type of book, and I do believe that that is the kind of book that you really, really love, based on some other books that you have read and enjoyed. For some reason, I am not bringing to mind the particular series that I know that you absolutely, absolutely love, which I haven't read, but from the description of those books and from the way that you've discussed those books, I feel like there are similarities with Starling House that you would really, really enjoy. So like I said, it's kind of a gothic fantasy, dark fantasy. We follow a character who's very down on her luck. There's this this is house in her local town, which is known to be very weird. And people don't really go there. The owner of the house is known to be very strange. There's a lot of mythology around the house and the owner. And anyway, she ends up getting offered a job as kind of a housekeeper, and so she takes it and then starts to figure out some very odd things about the house and the owner of the house. So yeah, I hope that sounds intriguing to you. I do think you'd really enjoy this book. So that is why, Margaret, I am recommending that you pick up Starling House by Alex E. Harrow. So those are the 8 people that I wanted to recommend a book to today. Like I said before, if you would like me to recommend a book to you, please comment below and let me know. Please include some information, whether it be your YouTube channel, whether it be your Goodreads, whether you just want to list your top 5 favourite books or anything like that. That will help me to narrow down and figure out what book I might recommend to you. But yeah, I hope that all the people that I talked about today potentially pick up the book, and if they do, that they really enjoy that. And yeah, all the people I talked about today are listed down below, so please go and subscribe to them. Please comment and let me know if you've read any of the books I recommended and whether you enjoyed them. If you'd like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a heart emoji, because we are spreading some love by talking about booktubers and books here on BookTube. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.